Hey, welcome. This is Mark McNutt here, and I'm going to give you the monthly astrological report. Now that the sun and moon are both being in Libra. New moon is tomorrow morning, Wednesday, the 6th of October, and it's a whole new ball game each time we do that. So we're here at Hendricks Park in Eugene, and it's a typical fall day representing the fall weather that's the answer to all kinds of firefighters' prayers. But I'm going to talk about the lunar weather. That's the solar weather. So, sun and moon in Libra. I do this every time that there's a new moon. I give a general report, not sign by sign, but kind of an overview with the little pointers in there. Today, I'm going to be talking about three things. I'm going to be talking about the new moon, sun and moon conjunct Mars, and I'll be talking about Mercury retrograde because everyone wants to know about Mercury retrograde, and then I'll be talking about the bigger picture of retrograde, stationary, and direct, which is a big factor. So you'll be hearing occasional cars going by, but do not be alarmed. Yeah, let's start with that new moon thing. Sun and moon in Libra, and Mars is exactly in the same degree. You can have things in the same sign, but every sign has 30 degrees, and Sun and moon and Mars are smack dab together, what us astrologers call combust. Um, Libra has to do with harmony and balance and interaction with the social interaction with others and finding the meeting points, finding how we get along. So Libra is about that give and take. Perhaps the dark side of Libra sometimes is about going along with the program and then perhaps rebelling against it or not really being on board. So one can compromise too much, but Libra is the lessons of compromise in there. Now, the dichotomy of that right now, Mars is also in Libra. Mars in Libra would be very easygoing, very harmonizing, very just go with the flow. But Mars, by nature, is very yang and likes to take action. So it's kind of like a little bit of Aries in Libra, a little bit of that balance. You know, the balance of the stasis of just kind of moving and going along with the program, coupled with it's time to get onto it, coupled with let's take action. Let's take action either individually or together. There's different ways that the kind of like rays in which the this new moon affects different people because your own template with it is going to correspond with the Venus in Scorpio, with the Pluto in Capricorn, with Jupiter in Aquarius, or with Neptune in Pisces. But this overarching theme of taking action together or individually, this is going to be in the background of the whole next month. So coupled along with that, Mercury. Mercury is retrograde now, as many of you know. And Mercury retrograde didn't used to be such a big deal, but it's taken a lot of precedence lately in the last 20 years or so because Mercury rules the mind and communication. So if you're listening right now on your cell phone, on whatever electronic device that you're using, that's Mercury. That's the Mercury connection. That's also the Uranus connection, but that's another story. But Mercury is about how we hone the mind, how we communicate together. And Mercury has been retrograde for a few weeks here, and will be retrograde until the middle of the month, until the 16th, the full moon and all that, or almost full moon. So, what does retrograde mean? It means, as seen from the Earth, the planet appears to be moving backwards, just like runners running around the track. I'm uphill right now from the U of O, University of Oregon, big track and field place, and it's like when runners run around the track, sometimes one appears to be leading the other, and the other one appears to be moving backwards. And so it's all a matter of perception. But here on Earth plane, our perception is what really matters. So it appears that mental matters are coming undone, are dissolving, or and this has usually been seen as a negative for a lot of people. About 80% of the people living are born with Mercury direct, meaning forward, and 20% of us, including myself, are born with Mercury retrograde. And when you're born with Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde happens in the transits 3 times a year, what happens is people like us, we get really focused. We get really zeroing in, and it's like waking up. And the catch with that is that we also have to communicate with people who are not Mercury retrograde. So there's a lot of brain melt that goes on during Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde in Libra would be, here I've been talking about Sun and Moon and Mars conjunct Mars, take action. Mercury retrograde in Libra is like, whatever. I'll just, agree with things and go along with the passive end of things. So it's interesting. There's this major activating cycle going on now. At the same time that there's also a very passive vibe, and it's a matter of what you choose, and it's also a matter of where your planets are in relation to all this. So if you're very Mercutial, very Mercury oriented, you're going to, and you don't have Mercury retrograde, you're going to have a harder time right now, just for another week or so. And this has been going on for a couple of weeks now. So Mercury goes retrograde for about 23 days, 3 times a year. And some people prepare for it by getting a lot of the mental work done. And Mercury retrograde is getting a lot of mental work done beforehand, is what I meant to say. And Mercury retrograde is a time of introspection, reflection, integration. It's the necessary exhale, the necessary going, and catching up with our mental planes. So it's not like people seem to look at it like it's a conflict or like it's a challenge or whatever. And it's none of those things. It's an opportunity to do something else. But if you're just honed into, mental plane, and that's your thing, it's hard to relax with this. And this isn't the time to relax. This is the time to be aware of the actions that you want to take. But look at that instinctively rather than a mental point of view at this time. But of course, if you're listening to this now, very likely you're on our YouTube channel, and you should sign up, you should join, you should like what we're doing here because we like to share it with you. But Mercury, real strong player in the program. Now the other thing is, let's stretch this out just a little bit more to, as I mentioned, Mercury's retrograde for 3 weeks total, turns around on around the 16th of this month. Now the thing about that is that when planets are turning around, when they're either going into retrograde or going out of retrograde, they're stationary, they're not moving. I've noticed in my 50 years of doing this that Pluto, when Pluto is going in and out of retrograde, and when it's stationary, it's very agitating. So Pluto's stationary right now. Pluto's retrograde, stationary, about to go direct or forward. Jupiter's retrograde, stationary, about to go forward. Saturn's retrograde, stationary, about to go forward. So between now and the 17th of this month, Mercury, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn turn around and start moving forward. But at this time, Mercury's moving backwards and the others are not moving at all. So when Saturn's moving back, when Saturn's stationary, it's almost like working really hard to jog in place, to just maintain. When Jupiter is stationary, a lot of opportunities are just about to happen. They're in the air, but they're not a done deal yet. And when Pluto is stationary, then basically there's transformations in the air, but energy also isn't moving that quick. Meanwhile, the new moon, which happens tomorrow, the 6th of October in the morning, um, that's going to be a call to action. And at that, right now, this is the day before the new moon. It's a time of completion for a lot of people, but that sun is conjunct Mars, and it's like, I just want to get onto it. And yet, what happens is when the new moon, when the moon catches up to that Mars tomorrow, Wednesday the 6th, it's going to be a spillover into doing things. So this is a really powerful time coming up, and the overview of that, let go of let go of your mental attitudes. I love Bob Marley's phrase. Let's see, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. That's your motto for any Mercury retrograde is emancipate yourself from mental slavery, your own mental slavery, old ideas, old ways of looking at things. Start a new beginning as we're turning into the fall. Look at the introspection of what's coming up with the winter, but be ready to take action when it comes, because this is a really inspired time, and I'm looking forward to it. And join our network. We'll be doing this all winter. We're also posting some other content beyond astrology that to be continued on that. So come back and visit us often, and like us, and we like you. Oh, and get a reading. This is all, the personal reading is really where it's at, and that's how I fund this, and that's what I do for a living, and happy to be 50 years into it. So wishing you well, and enjoy this lovely weather.